The B-2 bomber didn't just break records, it shattered them. It costs more than its weight in gold, flies invisible to radar, and one piece costs $2 billion. These are 20 weird facts about the B-2 bomber, and the bonus. Let's just say this plane was so secret, even Congress didn't know about it. Strap in. This stealth ride is about to blow your mind. The B-2 Spirit bomber costs $2.2 billion per plane when you include all the development costs. That's more money than most small countries have in their entire banks. If you weighed the plane and bought the same weight in pure gold, the plane would still cost way more than the gold. Each B-2 is literally worth more than its weight in gold bars stacked high. The Air Force only built 21 of them because they were so incredibly expensive to make. Congress almost canceled the whole program when they found out the real price tag. One crashed in Guam in 2008, and it was like watching $1 billion burn up in flames on the runway. The pilot ejected safely, but America lost one of its most expensive machines ever built in just seconds. To put it in perspective, you could buy 10 brand new 747 jumbo jets for the price of just one B-2 bomber. The B-2 is designed to be completely invisible to enemy radar systems protecting their countries. Its weird flying wing shape with no tail reflects radar waves away from the radar stations on the ground. Special paint on the outside absorbs radar signals like a sponge soaking up water. Enemy radar operators see nothing on their screens, even when the plane flies right overhead. The shape is so important that even a tiny dent or scratch can make it show up on radar. Maintenance crews have to fix every single imperfection in the smooth surface after each flight. The plane uses materials that were invented just for this bomber and don't exist anywhere else. Engineers spent over 10 years just figuring out how to make a plane invisible to radar. The technology was so advanced in the 1980s that it seemed like science fiction brought to life. Even today, most countries can't build anything close to this level of stealth technology.
We have the capability to strike targets literally worldwide within hours of being told to strike them, and strike them very precisely. So if it can be done with an air-delivered weapon, I think we have as good a capability to do that as any platform in the world.
B-2 has absolutely no tail, which makes it one of the weirdest looking planes ever built. It's just a giant flying wing without the normal tail section that every other plane has. Engineers at Northrop designed it this way to reduce the radar signature and make it stealthier. Flying a plane with no tail is incredibly difficult and requires computer help every second. The computers make tiny adjustments to the flight controls 40 times every single second to keep it stable. Without computers constantly working, the plane would spin out of control and crash immediately. Human pilots can't react fast enough to fly it manually without the computer assistance. The design came from experimental planes tested way back in the 1940s after World War II ended. Jack Northrop dreamed of building a pure flying wing his entire career. He died in 1981, just before the B-2 flew, but he got to see secret photos before he passed away. Every single hour the B-2 flies costs American taxpayers $135,000 in fuel, maintenance, and operations. That's more than most people make in an entire year of working full-time. A 10-hour training mission costs $1.35 million before the plane even lands back at base. The engines burn thousands of gallons of expensive jet fuel every hour at high altitude. After each flight, maintenance crews spend over 100 hours checking and fixing things on the plane. For every 1 hour in the air, the plane needs about 50 hours of maintenance on the ground. Special tools that cost thousands of dollars each are needed to work on the stealth surfaces. The Air Force has to budget carefully because flying these planes is so incredibly expensive. Even just starting the engines costs thousands of dollars in fuel and computer checks. The Air Force originally wanted to buy 132 B-2 bombers to replace older planes in the 1980s, but the cost got so high that Congress cut the order down to just 21 planes total. Building only 21 instead of 132 made each plane way more expensive than planned. The first B-2 flew on July 17th, 1989 from a secret base in California. Production ended in 2000 when the last plane was delivered to the Air Force. Each plane has a name painted on it, like Spirit of America or Spirit of Texas. One crashed in 2008, leaving only 20 flying today at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. The small fleet means each plane is incredibly valuable and irreplaceable. If one breaks, they sometimes take parts from another plane to fix it. The Air Force treats each B-2 like a priceless piece of art that can never be replaced. The B-2 can fly over 6,000 miles without stopping or refueling from a tanker plane. That's far enough to fly from New York to London and back again without landing. The plane carries 167,000 pounds of fuel inside the wings and body. It can fly from Missouri to anywhere in the world and come back home safely. During the Kosovo War in 1999, B-2s flew 30-hour missions from Missouri to Europe and back. The pilots took turns sleeping in the cockpit during these incredibly long flights. They used special inflatable beds and took bathroom breaks in a small toilet behind the seats. The plane can reach any target on Earth within hours of getting orders. This incredible range means America can strike anywhere without needing bases in other countries. Enemy countries never know when a B-2 might be flying overhead, ready to drop bombs. The B-2 must be stored in special air-conditioned hangars that cost millions of dollars to build. The stealth coating on the outside is damaged by rain, humidity, heat, and cold weather. If water gets into tiny cracks, it can make the plane visible to radar systems. Each hangar at Whiteman Air Force Base is specially designed just for the B-2 bomber. The temperature inside is kept perfect at all times, like a giant refrigerator for airplanes. Maintenance crews have to reapply the special coating after every single flight mission. The coating process takes days of careful work by trained specialists wearing protective suits. Even dust and dirt can affect the stealth properties if not cleaned off properly. The hangars are so expensive that they cost more than some small commercial airplanes. Other military planes can sit outside in any weather, but not the precious B-2. Unlike most military planes, the B-2 has two pilots sitting right next to each other. They don't sit one behind the other like in fighter jets or most bombers. This side-by-side design helps them work together better during long 30-hour missions across oceans. The cockpit is surprisingly small and cramped for such a huge airplane. There's barely enough room to move around or stretch during the incredibly long flights. Behind the seats is a small area with a toilet, a microwave, and space to sleep. The pilots take turns flying while the other one rests on a small inflatable mattress. They eat prepackaged meals heated in the microwave during the mission. Some pilots say the hardest part isn't flying, but staying awake and alert for so many hours. The cockpit has no windows on the sides, only small windows in front for visibility. The B-2 can carry up to 40,000 pounds of bombs and missiles inside its body. That's the weight of about 20 cars worth of explosives flying through the sky. Two huge bomb bays inside the plane can hold 80 bombs of 500 pounds each. It can also carry massive 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs that destroy underground targets. The bombs are kept inside the plane to maintain the stealth shape. If bombs hung outside on wings, radar would easily spot them from far away. Special doors open, the bombs drop out, and the doors close again in just seconds. The plane can attack 16 different targets in one mission without returning to base. Smart bombs guide themselves to targets using GPS and laser systems. The B-2 was the first bomber designed from the start to carry only guided smart bombs. The B-2 program was completely secret from 1978 until 1988 when the Air Force finally showed it. Even members of Congress didn't know the plane existed for many years. Workers at the factory had to sign papers promising never to talk about what they built. The Air Force spent billions of dollars on a plane that officially didn't exist yet. Satellite photos from other countries sometimes spotted weird shapes at test bases in Nevada. Aviation magazines tried to guess what the secret plane looked like from blurry photos. The Air Force released one fuzzy picture in 1988, showing just the shape from far away. Workers couldn't tell their own families what they did at work every day. Security was so tight that different teams building parts didn't know what other teams made. The full plane was revealed to the public on November 22nd, 1988, in Palmdale, California. Thousands of people showed up to see the weird flying wing for the first time. The B-2's surface is smoother than a polished glass mirror in your bathroom at home. Every panel fits together with gaps smaller than a human hair. Engineers use special tools to measure gaps as tiny as 0.01 inches between panels. Even a small scratch or dent can create radar reflections that give away the plane's position. Maintenance crews inspect every inch of the surface after each flight looking for damage. Bird strikes, hail, or even bugs hitting the plane can damage the stealth coating. Workers have to wear special gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints that could affect the coating. The smooth surface took years to develop and uses secret materials. Some panels are made of special composites that don't exist in any other airplane. The entire plane has to be perfect or it loses its invisibility to enemy radar.
Normally on a training mission, when we're just simulating the release of weapons, we don't open the weapons bay doors. Obviously on a combat mission, when you're dropping weapons out, the doors do come open. And so there's drag on the airplane, there's noise on the airplane. There's a clunk when the weapon falls off the airplane.
The B-2's first real combat mission happened during the Kosovo War on March 24th, 1999. 6 B-2 bombers flew from Missouri to Yugoslavia, a distance of over 6,000 miles. They dropped bombs on Serbian targets and flew back home in missions lasting 30 hours. The pilots flew overnight while Americans slept, crossed the Atlantic Ocean, bombed targets, and returned. Serbian radar never detected the B-2s flying overhead in the darkness. Other NATO planes were getting shot at, but the B-2s completed missions without anyone shooting at them. The bombers flew through terrible storms and heavy clouds that would ground other planes. They proved that stealth technology actually worked in real combat situations. The missions showed the world that America had a plane no one could stop. After Kosovo, the B-2 was used in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya in later wars. The B-2 has special protection against lightning strikes that could damage the electronics inside. Regular planes can handle lightning because metal conducts electricity safely around the outside, but the B-2's composite materials don't conduct electricity like metal does naturally. Engineers had to embed special wires throughout the skin to carry lightning safely. The wires create a protective mesh that acts like a cage around the plane. If lightning hits, the electricity travels through the wires instead of damaging computers and systems. The system was tested thousands of times in laboratories before the plane ever flew. They even built giant lightning machines to zap test panels repeatedly. Pilots still try to avoid thunderstorms when possible because lightning can damage the stealth coating. The coating has to be inspected and repaired after any lightning strike hits the plane. The 4 engines are completely hidden inside the body of the plane where you can't see them. Most planes have engines hanging under the wings in plain sight. The B-2's engines are buried deep inside the flying wing to reduce heat signature. Hot engine exhaust shows up brightly on infrared sensors that track heat. Special baffles and cooling systems reduce the heat. Before the exhaust comes out, the exhaust exits through slots on top of the wing, not underneath where missiles can see it. This design makes it much harder for heat-seeking missiles to lock onto the plane. The engines are General Electric F-118 turbofans, each producing 17,300 pounds of thrust. Maintaining the hidden engines is incredibly difficult and takes special training. Mechanics have to remove huge panels just to reach the engines for routine maintenance. Everyone calls the B-2 the stealth bomber, even though that's not its official name. The official name is B-2 Spirit, chosen by the Air Force in 1989. The nickname stuck because stealth is the plane's most important feature. Before the B-2, America had the F-117 Nighthawk, which was the first stealth fighter. The B-2 took stealth technology to a whole new level with its flying wing design. Engineers designed every single part to be as invisible as possible to radar. Even the way the bombs are carried inside was designed for stealth. The tires are specially made to not leave marks on the runway that could be tracked. Paint color was chosen to blend into the sky at different times of day. Every detail, no matter how small, was considered for stealth properties during design. The B-2 is one of only 3 American planes certified to carry nuclear weapons. It can carry 16 nuclear bombs, each more powerful than the bombs dropped on Japan. The plane is designed to penetrate enemy air defenses and deliver nuclear weapons if ordered. This capability makes it one of the most dangerous weapons in the entire world. Pilots who fly nuclear missions need special security clearances and training. The plane practices nuclear missions regularly, but hopefully will never have to do one for real. During the Cold War, nuclear-capable bombers flew 24 hours a day ready to strike. Today, the B-2 is on alert, but not constantly flying like in the old days. The nuclear mission is so serious that 2 officers must agree before releasing weapons. The B-2 gives America the ability to strike any target with nuclear weapons within hours.
The most unique aspect of it, which really kind of gave me the sense of, hey, this is for real, is my first release when the weapons started to come out and you felt the weapons dropping and being discharged from the airplane. That's when the hairs on the back of my neck just started to kind of raise and I realized, hey, this is for real.
All 20 flying B-2 bombers are based at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. They're not spread out at different bases like most military planes around the country. The Air Force chose Whiteman because it's in the center of America. From Missouri, the planes can reach anywhere in the world in roughly the same time. The base has 20 special climate-controlled hangars, one for each plane. About 3,200 people work at the base supporting the B-2 fleet. Pilots and crew members move to Missouri if they want to fly the B-2. The base is like a small city dedicated to keeping keeping these 20 planes flying. Security at Whiteman is incredibly tight because the planes are so valuable. Keeping all the planes in one place makes maintenance and training easier to manage. Becoming a B-2 pilot takes years of training and flying other planes first. Pilots must have thousands of hours flying other aircraft before they're even considered. The training program lasts over a year and includes classroom work and simulator time. The simulator costs millions of dollars and perfectly mimics flying the real plane. Students practice emergency situations that would be too dangerous in the actual aircraft. Only about 80 pilots in the entire Air Force are qualified to fly the B-2. They're considered the best of the best among all military pilots. Each pilot costs millions of dollars to train because of the expensive simulators and instruction. The small number of qualified pilots means each one is incredibly valuable. If a pilot quits, it takes years to train a replacement to the same level. The B-2 can refuel while flying using special tanker planes that meet it in the air. A long tube extends from the tanker and connects to the top of the B-2. Fuel flows at hundreds of gallons per minute while both planes fly at 500 miles per hour. The process is dangerous and requires perfect coordination between the pilots. Refueling lets the B-2 fly for 30 hours or more on a single mission. The plane might refuel 4 or 5 times during one very long mission across oceans. Pilots have to stay perfectly steady while thousands of gallons of fuel transfer. Even small turbulence can make refueling difficult or impossible. The refueling door is specially designed to maintain stealth when closed. Practice refueling missions happen regularly to keep pilots sharp and ready for real missions. The B-2 first flew in 1989 and is still flying combat missions today in 2024. The Air Force plans to keep flying them until at least 2058, making them 70 years old. Constant upgrades keep the computers and weapon systems modern and effective. New software updates happen regularly, just like updating your phone or computer. The radar-absorbing coating is improved every few years with better materials. Despite being old, the B-2 is still the most advanced bomber in the world. China and Russia have tried to build stealth bombers, but are years behind America. The basic design is so good that it doesn't need to be completely replaced. Engineers in the 1980s built something so advanced it's still the best decades later. The Air Force is now building the B-21 Raider to eventually replace the B-2. Bonus fact, the shape was stolen. The flying wing design wasn't entirely original to Northrop in the 1980s. Jack Northrop built experimental flying wings in the 1940s that influenced the B-2, but some historians say America might have gotten ideas from captured German plans. Germany worked on flying wing bombers during World War II, but never finished them after the war ended in 1945. America took German scientists and plans back home. The Hortenhode 229 was a German flying wing that looked similar to the B-2. Some of the German engineers ended up working for Northrop years later in America. The Air Force denies copying German designs, saying the B-2 is completely American, but the similarity is hard to ignore when you see old German drawings. Whether inspired or copied, the B-2 took the flying wing idea further than anyone imagined possible. From invisible coatings to 30-hour missions across the world, the B-2 spirit proved that science fiction could become reality. This flying wing changed modern warfare forever and still dominates the skies decades later. If these facts opened your eyes to something incredible, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories that'll change how you see military technology.
It became apparent that any bomber aircraft that had to penetrate Soviet airspace was going to have to run a layered gauntlet of air defense missiles that could shoot down aircraft no matter how high or how low they were flying. The only way to evade Soviet air defense missiles was to fly so high that you're never going to hit a target with your bomb.